Oh, where's the channel on this thing? Oh, let's do this. Oh wow, really? Let's visit a minute. All right. Now I don't know if you saw my last video. Hello, family. Apparently, I have 13 subscribers. I can only see 3, so excuse me if I say something. Anyway. So welcome all the family, friends, and everything. We're gonna visit a little bit. Now this little guy right here. This is a Fraggle Rock character named Traveling Matt. I think M-A-T-T, right? Traveling Matt. So basically, Traveling Matt left their little wherever they're at and went out into the real world, and he sees weird things, and he sends postcards of the crazy adventures and the weird animals and things he sees, because these Fraggles never see this stuff. So I kind of feel like this Traveling Matt guy, traveling all around the world doing weird shit, been places, seen things. Anyway, let's do some cooking too. So what's the flavor of the moment or whatever? So talking to some friends, when I got my bread machine, 2 years ago, 3, whatever it was. Oh, I gotta get one. And the people who do buy them, nothing. They don't cook anything in it. The other people are like always reminded, right? I need to get a bread machine. Well, hang on. So the other day, I was talking to two dear friends, and always do some kind of jab kind of deal. So it's like, how's that bread machine? You making any bread lately? All right. At least they started a garden and stuff. So anyway, but this is for them. Not the 2 doctors. I haven't forgot about you two, but the bread thing, very funny. All right, now I've heard them all. I've heard all the reasons for doing things, and this particular time, it was about time. Is I don't have the time to make bread in the bread machine. Right, that's the mission today. Right, with mostly peaceful protests, food shortages, gas prices up. The dumpster fires going on right now, right? So, always thinking back to, the Great Depression, ration books, things like that. But let's take a look at bread real quick. All right. So, which is cheaper, buying it or baking it? All right. So, what would you think? I mean, whatever the day's prices and things are. So, I came across this chart thing. I don't believe it, but it shows a split. There's a split between the two, no matter what, if it's $100 or 35 cents. Now, here we go. We got 2 things to figure out. A, does it cost less or more? Pretty simple. Or does it take too much time? All right, everybody, say it with me. Let's go to the lab and find out. For new folks, and just a reminder, I've been living in the bunker now, kind of camping out for 4 years plus, not using my stove or burners, and using solar. So I like to try different gizmos, try to live normally, but with less things, being a techno minimalist. Okay, enough of that. Now, what do we go next? That's right. Let's go to the shed. But first, we have to do the safety announcement. Now, as part of our safety program here at the 420 Lab, we always use all the safety precautions when necessary. We wear the goggles when we can find them, or whatever, So, but there's our safety announcement. Now, back to the show. Now, with the shed and the project, right? So, the project, we already know, we're going to make some bread, right? So we need an implement. So, of course, what implement? We already know the appliance, right? The bread machine. Also, the bread oven. I don't believe that somebody thought there was 2 different things. But they are. I mean, if you want to think of it as a bread machine, fine. But if you want to think of it as a bread machine and oven, then that's what I do. So, but anyway, we're going to find out basically how much time does it take to make bread, and of course the cost you can't beat. But let's do the how long does it take really? Now, something like this basic deal is what we're looking for. Alright, that's a basic loaf of bread. A little extra, but a basic loaf of bread. Alright, now here on the lab bench. Now I like to make things. Oh, the drink of this video, right? Went back to another cup of Pico tea with a little splash of milk. My fast is over. So anyway, on the lab bench, I don't measure that much in cups and things. You know, I have a scale here. So basically, you know how to pour flour, right? Okay, but I'm also going. I found a little half a packet of Bisquick, so I'm going to throw some Bisquick in this, and a teaspoon of yeast. Right? No, right. Enough of me raving and stuff. We're going to do this real quick. So basically, I found out that on my scale, if I do 13 ounces. Go into that, but it works out to be a little bit heavy. 2 cups. It's almost like 3 cups. So let's do that. Throw in 1 teaspoon of fast-acting yeast. Now this is also all self-rising flour too, with the Bisquick. Then you mix it in, right? Use the whisk. There you go, Texas. Got the whisk in there, right? So back to how time. And how easy, right? You make the flour. It's basically, 2.5, whatever cups it is. Sprinkle some yeast on it, and you're done. Now, here's the wet part. Now, this might go a little fast, but we have salt, oil, and honey for this, and water. 180 or a cup of water. A teaspoon of. Well, we'll just do it by slide. So in the 1 cup of water, you put 1 teaspoon of salt. After adding the salt, 1 tablespoon of cooking oil. And finally for this, I decided to put 1 tablespoon of sugar. Honey, sorry. Sometimes you can use sugar, whatever you want to use, but you don't even have to use any. I've made bread without any kind of sweetener, because the flour turns into the sugar, right? So you don't have to do that. Now back at the bench, right? We have the pan, the bread pan, or whatever you want to call it, and don't forget the spinny thing inside. And I sprayed it with a little goo, and there's my water stuff, my mix. Right? So you got your wet ingredients, and then you make sure your flour's whisked up real good. Now, some people actually make like a volcano in their thing, and they put the yeast inside. I mix it together. All right, you pour the goo in the pan, and then you simply take the pan and put it in the machine. Right? No big deal. And I'm going to select number 4 French bread, and then do a heavy loaf and kind of a dark crust, really. Again, we're seeing how much time does this take. So I selected 4 dark and 2 pound. Now, the time to cook a loaf of bread is 4 hours and 5 minutes at these settings. That's it. All right, let's look at one of our questions, right? The cost. Now, what does it cost for a loaf of bread today, real quick? Maybe, I have no idea. It's called $3, depending if you get multigrain or whatever. $3. Now, how much stuff did we use? I used 2 cups of flour, tablespoon of oil, right? Some salt. Really? It probably costs 50 cents, maybe 25, 50 cents for a loaf of bread. Right? I'm a techno minimalist, so I really, thought long and hard about this magical invention called the bread machine, right? First off, how much bread do I eat? I'm one person. I don't eat loaves and loaves of bread, so I do 1 loaf maybe a week, right? The other thing is, do I need clutter? Do I need more shit or whatever? So I wanted to find out as many uses as I could for this thing, which I'm finding a lot. Now, the other thing is, will it make bread? And will it do it cheaply? I think so. Remember, once you hit the button, it does it all by itself. So here it's starting to, get into a ball that's supposed. You don't even have to peek at it ever. So this I don't have time thing. So, and here's a little movie I did. It's doing its thing, right? All right, back to the thought. How much does it cost for me to make a loaf of bread? I did a spreadsheet. Now, since I purchased at Dollar Tree and Dollar General, whatever you call them, I did a quick spreadsheet. I don't know if you see that, but flour cost me $1 to do a loaf of bread. The oil is 3 cents, right? The salt is 1 cent, and the honey is 4 cents. So basically, it cost me about $1. Now that doesn't cost electricity, because if I do it off solar, then it doesn't do anything. But $1 something, right, for a loaf. What is it today? $3. Now, depending on the deals you can get, you have to spend at least $4 to get started, and then you have stuff in the pantry. Now, here's the loaf. Now, because I used the Bisquick, I used a quarter cup of that I had left over. It kind of made it a little bit more flakier than I liked it. But there's the bread. So for 5 minutes of effort, you can have a loaf of bread. Now, it does cook for 4 hours, but you don't have to watch it. So does it take a lot of time? No, it takes 5 minutes. Now, the cost, $1.09 or whatever for a loaf of bread, can't beat it. Can't beat it. Now, the Bisquick ad made it a little fluffier than I like, so the next thing I do is I always like to take the loaf once it's handable or whatever, right? Just put it in the fridge in one of these bags. Let it in there for a couple hours till it gets cold enough, and unless you really want to tear into a homemade steaming roll of bread or butter and all nice and jammed or whatever. But here's what I do, once a week. Now, so I don't have any toaster problems or whatever putting bread in, I always cut my loaf in half, and you'll see why. I had a neighbor friend of mine give me this gizmo. It's pretty nice. It's an adjustable knife, so you can adjust it for whatever width you want. Now, I keep it set at this one size because it works for me. So after I slice it up, I got like 12 full slices, or or 12 half slices, if you want to look at this. And when I put it in the toaster, it doesn't jam up. It's good enough for me. So I take 2 slices of this. Comes out to be 1 whole slice of toast. So when I do an open face sandwich or something, it's 1 whole bread, but it's split in 2 pieces. Thank you for staying through this long video, but a lot of good stuff about bread. But really appreciate you visiting. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
All men and women created by you know the thing.